What if I told you that one of hockey's greatest leaders, a captain adored by an entire city, suddenly vanished, not because of a devastating injury or a trade, but something even more terrifying? What if I told you that the toughest opponent Saku Koivu ever faced wasn't a bruising defenseman or a rival team, but a silent enemy that threatened to steal not just his career, but his life? This is the true story of Saku Koivu's miracle comeback, a journey of pain, survival, and the kind of courage that inspires millions. But be warned, this isn't just a hockey story. It's about hope, resilience, and what it means to fight when the world expects you to fall. Let's rewind the clock back to where it all began. A dream born in Finland, Saku Koivu was born in 1974 in Turku, a picturesque city on Finland's southwestern coast. Growing up in a country obsessed with hockey, young Saku had one dream, not just to reach the NHL, but to lead a team, to become a captain on the biggest stage of all. But if you saw him as a kid, you wouldn't have guessed he'd ever make it. He wasn't big, he wasn't physically imposing, and coaches often doubted whether this shy, undersized kid would ever survive in a world of giants. But they underestimated Saku's heart. Even as a teenager, he was relentless. First in, last out, every practice. Soon he became the shining star of TPS Turku, one of Finland's legendary clubs. By age 19, Koivu was outplaying men twice his size, leading his team to 2 Finnish championships. Scouts started to whisper, maybe, just maybe, this kid could make it in North America. A new hero in Montreal. In 1993, the Montreal Canadiens, one of hockey's oldest, proudest franchises, drafted Koivu 21st overall. The city of Montreal, where hockey is closer to religion than sport, was looking for new hope, new leadership. But even then, skeptics wondered, could a quiet Finnish kid thrive under Montreal's blinding spotlight? From the moment he hit the ice in his rookie year, Koivu answered that question with every shift. He scored 20 goals, notched 25 assists, and, most importantly, won the hearts of a fan base that demanded nothing less than total commitment. Teammates described him as the engine, a player who never coasted, who raised everyone's level just by being on the ice. By 1999, Koivu made history. He was named the Canadiens captain, the first European-born player ever to wear the C for Montreal, in a city where legends like Maurice Richard and Jean Béliveau had once led. Koivu's appointment was more than a milestone. It was a statement, a sign that hockey's future belonged to anyone with the guts and will to lead. The media raved about his tenacity, his humility, his willingness to put the team above himself. Koivu battled through injuries that would sideline most players for months, always returning early, always playing hurt. He became a symbol of quiet strength, a captain who led by example, not just words. A sudden, terrifying disappearance. But in September 2001, just days before the NHL season was set to begin, everything changed. Koivu started feeling unusual fatigue, a heaviness he couldn't shake. Abdominal pain grew worse. At first he shrugged it off, just the toll of another long season, he thought. But a routine medical checkup shattered that illusion. The diagnosis, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, an aggressive cancer of the lymphatic system that can strike with little warning and devastating speed. The news hit like a bolt of lightning. Koivu was just 26, the heartbeat of the Canadiens, at the absolute peak of his career. Overnight, the headlines changed. Koivu diagnosed with cancer. Habs captain fights for his life. Teammates and fans were stunned. It wasn't a broken bone or a torn ligament. This was a fight that would take every ounce of courage Saku had. For Montreal, the shock was personal. Here was their captain, their hero, suddenly facing a battle no hockey player could train for. A city in mourning and in hope. As Koivu began chemotherapy, Montreal rallied like never before. Fans crowded outside the hospital, leaving cards, flowers, and handmade signs on the gates. Children drew pictures of Koivu lifting the Stanley Cup, taping them to the hospital walls. One sign simply read, "Please come back, Captain. We need you." His teammates stitched the number 11 onto their helmets, dedicating every game to their missing leader. Even rivals sent letters of encouragement. The whole hockey world watched, holding its breath. Koivu's wife, Hannah, stayed by his side every step, shielding him from the public eye while quietly admitting to reporters, "We just take it one day at a time." Saku never complains. He's always thinking about everyone else. But behind closed doors, the battle was brutal. Chemo stole his hair, his weight, his energy. He'd force himself out of bed to walk hospital corridors, his body aching, but his mind still focused. If I can walk today, maybe I can skate tomorrow. Doctors cautioned that his playing career was likely over. Even survival was not guaranteed. The quiet warrior fights back, but what no one counted on was Saku's unbreakable spirit. Even as his body grew frail, his will only grew stronger. He began doing light workouts, then resistance bands, then gentle skating sessions, always pushing, never giving up. When asked how he found the strength, Koivu later said, "It wasn't just about me. I wanted to show my family, my teammates, and every cancer patient out there that you don't give up, not ever." Months passed. The Canadiens limped through the season, missing their heart and soul. Rumors began to swirl. Koivu was making miraculous progress. He was gaining weight. He was getting stronger. Still, no one dared believe he'd actually play again. Not so soon, not after what he'd been through. The comeback no one dared dream of. Then, in early April 2002, an announcement stunned the hockey world. Saku Koivu would return to the ice before the season ended. It was the stuff of legend. Reporters called it a miracle. Teammates said, "You can't write this in a movie script. It's too unbelievable." April 9th, 2002. The Bell Center was packed. Over 21,000 fans, millions more watching at home. When Koivu stepped onto the ice for warm-ups, the entire arena erupted. The standing ovation lasted nearly 10 minutes. The announcers could barely speak. Grown men wept in the stands. Families hoisted their children to their shoulders so they could witness a piece of history. One teammate, Richard Zednik, later said, "We were all choked up, trying not to cry. Saku wasn't just back, he was our inspiration." Koivu's eyes filled with tears as the crowd roared. For a moment, hockey didn't matter. Wins and losses didn't matter. The city was celebrating life, hope, and the unbreakable human spirit. Not just back, but leading again. And then, in one of the greatest twists in playoff history, Koivu did more than inspire, he delivered. Despite months away from the game and the trauma of chemotherapy, he instantly became Montreal's leader again. He set up goals, won key faceoffs, and logged major ice time. With Koivu back, the Canadiens pulled off a stunning first-round upset of the top-seeded Boston Bruins. In that series, Saku led the team in scoring. The impossible comeback was now a living reality. Fans poured into the streets after every win, chanting his name, waving banners that read, "Merci Saku." Reporters called it the miracle on ice, Montreal style. Even Bruins players were seen clapping their sticks on the ice after the handshake line, a rare display of respect for an opponent, a hero on and off the ice. But for Saku Koivu, coming back wasn't just about hockey. He wanted his fight to mean something for others too. After the season, he created the Saku Koivu Foundation, raising millions for a state-of-the-art cancer center at Montreal General Hospital. He visited children in the hospital, told them, "You can beat this, just like I did." To many, he became not just a captain, but a symbol of survival, a real-life superhero. One Montreal doctor later said, "We had patients who refused to quit just because Saku didn't. He gave hope when medicine couldn't." Battling back. Again and again, Koivu returned as captain year after year, overcoming injuries that would have ended most careers. In 2006, he took a dangerous high stick to the eye in the playoffs, nearly lost his vision, but fought back once more. He never complained, never put himself above the team. Over 13 seasons with the Canadiens, Koivu racked up nearly 800 points. He wasn't the flashiest scorer, but he was the heart and soul of Montreal hockey. Later, he played for the Anaheim Ducks, bringing that same leadership and courage to a new team, earning the same admiration and respect. Throughout his career, players and coaches spoke of his humility and honesty. Anaheim coach Randy Carlyle once said, "If you have Saku on your team, you have a chance every night. He's that rare kind of leader who changes a room just by walking in." Legacy, more than just numbers. When Koivu finally retired in 2014, he left a legacy few could match. His number 11 jersey hasn't been officially retired in Montreal, but fans still treat it as sacred. Whenever anyone mentions the greatest captains in hockey history, Saku Koivu's name is always on the list. He was inducted into the IIHF Hall of Fame in 2017, a tribute not just to his stats, but to his leadership, courage, and heart. Today, Montreal fans still talk about the night Koivu returned. Ask anyone who was there, and they'll tell you the roar, the tears, the celebration. It was more than a hockey game. It was a moment when the whole city believed in miracles. Beyond the rink, A hero for life, but maybe Koivu's greatest achievement wasn't on the ice at all. Ask the cancer survivors who drew hope from his story, the kids who saw him in the hospital, the families he supported with his foundation. They'll say, Saku Koivu showed us all that. No matter how dark it gets, you never stop fighting. You never give up. He downplayed his own heroism, often saying, I just did what anyone would do in my place. But the truth is, very few could have done what he did. He showed the world that courage is measured not by trophies, but by the hearts you touch. So, is Saku Koivu's comeback the most inspiring story in hockey history? Or is there another athlete who has moved you just as much? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Who's your sports hero on or off the ice? And if you want more unforgettable stories of hope, courage, and comeback legends, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell. Because sometimes the greatest victories aren't measured in championships, but in the hearts they inspire. This was the miracle comeback of Saku Koivu, a captain who showed us all what it means to never ever quit.